Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast, where in this season we dive into Stephen Bartlett's 33 Laws of Business and Life with me, Pamela Walsh, and the amazing...
Oh, I'll take that, Pam. Thank you very much. Sian Horn. Hi, Pamela. How are you? It's a late one tonight.
It is a very late one. This is my third night this week working. I am tired. It's the first week of the month though, so it's always a bit crazy for me the first week of the month, and then I'm fine again.
Okay, I'm just getting my little violin there. Yes, listen, we're both in the same boat. I know exactly how you feel. However, I do have to apologise because we are doing it late because I cocked up this morning's timing. So apologies for that.
But I also get to skip bedtime, so it's okay.
Yeah, who wants to read that book to the child anyway? So how was your week? What have you been up to?
I am married 7 years this week. Can you imagine? 7 whole years. We haven't murdered each other yet. And I'm trying to buy shoes for the club awards. That is my biggest drama this week. Thank God. I'm like Bambi. I can't wear heels anymore since COVID. Cannot wear them.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I have an event this weekend. I am going to Tatler, Woman of the Year 23. Well, it's probably last week by the time this goes out. I went to the shoe suite in Cork City and I got a pair of shoes that are kind of flat but look like a heel. They are amazing.
I need a heel with this dress. I need a nice heel. So I may not be walking that night. If you see me, I'll be sitting down.
Yes.
Just come and say hi.
But all of those block heels are in. So that is a good thing.
I need to find something. Yeah.
Actually, when this goes out, the awards will have been done and we'll know who will won.
We will know.
I know this is quite strange, but so shoes are top of your list this week. Business, anything exciting? Seen anything?
Business. Well, we're in a VAT month, so everybody is scrambling to get VAT returns done. No, I've had a couple of chats with people in business. Seen a lot of small businesses start to. There seems to be a bit of a split at the moment. People are struggling, or people are taking off, and that's what I'm seeing across the board. But I'm seeing lots of small business owners thinking they need to do it all themselves and wondering why they're making a profit, but they're afraid to invest in outsourcing, but they're buying a course instead to learn how to do digital marketing instead, Well, if that's not your service, don't buy it. Outsource instead, invest your money wisely.
Like, you don't need to do the course first, like do it, learn as you're doing it, but also you'll find out if you like it. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you're never going to do it.
Yeah, no, but I'm only saying digital marketing for like an example because I know you're doing something like that at the moment. But you don't need to do everything yourself in your business. If you're making a profit, you kick it out. If it's something you hate, you just don't do it. You outsource it and you do what you're really bloody good at. You leverage your strengths and outsource all your weaknesses.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I've had a funny old week. I've been all over the shop. I've obviously got 3 businesses, so it's always really varied. So I was teaching Pilates in Brown Thomas on Sunday. I ended up representing the club up in Galway at a Mum Talks event, which was fantastic on Wednesday. I met today with an amazing business called Take Place Events, which is a social media live platform, basically, when you're running an event, so people can like click the QR code and it goes up onto a big screen, so you're seeing things like in real time. So they are coming on board for the club awards, which is amazing. And then I've just been selling my soul, getting sponsorship, and
I know how you do it, Shan. You're always somewhere, like on the go in the car, some part of the country.
Selling your soul.
Always selling your soul. No, like if I had to, I don't think I could travel as much as you do. You love it though, do you?
I just love the variety of the people that you meet. Like, God, I met a woman. This is mad now. I met a woman on Wednesday at the Mum Talks Galway event who gave birth and during her birth broke her neck.
I thought you were going to say pelvis because that would make sense. Her neck.
Now, she had a 10.5-pound baby, but she actually, for 2 days after, they couldn't work out what was wrong with her. Then when they scanned her, they realised she had broken her neck through labour. that's when I was just like, okay, I'm so, at that point I went, I don't need the children.
Oh no, do you ever see the girl with the list on TikTok? It's like she's keeping this list of all the horror stories that happen when you have a baby, and the list is like thousands of items long. And now it's like any stories like that, all the comments are, "Where's the girl with the list?" Because it just needs to be added onto the list. It's
So,
oh,
horrendous, horrendous. But
yeah,
yeah,
I've
so
never heard that happening.
I love the fact that every time you go somewhere, you meet like amazing people. So I like that element of the travel.
Mm,
And also sometimes I have to admit, sometimes it's the only time where I can't have my laptop out, can't have a screen. I'm on the road. I get to listen to a pod, or, I get to consume information. So that to me is worth its weight in gold.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I love. That's what I listen to all my pods when I'm driving as well. So yeah, if I have to go up to Cork or anything for a meeting, I'm like, it's grand. I listen to a full podcast.
Yeah. Which actually brings us on nicely, because obviously at the moment we're unpacking Stephen Bartlett's book. And today we're going to have a look at, and actually this leads in very nicely to rule number 2. Would you like to read, Pamela?
From
What
my
we have
beautiful
to
spreadsheet. Okay,
Look at the Excel sheet. It's amazing.
so I'm going to read the law, like give a brief summary of what it is. So the law, to master it, you must create an obligation to teach it. It basically is summarized in learn more, simplify more, and share more. The consistency will further your progress. The feedback will refine your skill, and following this law will lead to mastery. You don't become a master because you can retain knowledge. You become a master when you can release it.
So I love this law.
I do too. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, when I got like, because we talked about I don't like reading. So I listened to this on audio. Now I have to say, when he starts the law and he's like, I take myself back, and I was in front of all these people, and it was very dramatic, I have to say. And the little and the Stephen Bartlett ego was expanding by the second, and I was like, all right, mate, calm down a little. But when he talks about it, and funny enough, I wrote a blog this week about learning types and skills, which led on from what we were chatting about last week. I had to write a blog this week, and so I wrote about how I learn, and I wrote about how I understood and found how to do that. So when
Mhm.
I was very, very young, wasn't the intelligent group in school. When it came to English, put in special class where you hear things about yourself like, she's in the special class, or she's thick, or all these things, or, you won't be able to do that. A lot of you won't be able to do that. You can't do that. You're not good enough for that. And the more you hear that as a young child, obviously it starts to set in. However, I grew up in a pub, and I think at the very early age, I realized that I was surrounded by really like cool adults that I could draw information from. So quite often, like if I needed to read a book for class, I would carry that book, and somebody in the pub, that I had like 28 parents, would be like, what have you got there, Sean? And I'd be like, oh, this book, it's grand, it's okay. And I'd have conversations about this book. And
Yeah.
I think I realized that's how I would be able to get by. So I
Yeah,
was
you'd have different ways of taking it in. Like that's very interesting.
so I realized at a very young age that listening was how I got my information, not by reading. And then I realized very quickly, actually at 11, when I started senior school, that I could direct people. So in my senior school, we had a collegium, which is like the school board, and every year you got voted on by the 250 students. There was 4 people each year. My sister was in the collegium every year. So obviously, as a competitive younger sister, when I started, I was like, well, obviously I have to be on it because I'm just as good as she is. And I remember at 11 standing up in front of the class, not having written a speech because I found that really difficult. Had listened to all the speeches before me with people promising soft toilet roll, because yes, I grew up in the age of hard toilet roll, or asking your teacher for one sheet. Yes, I am that old. And And I remember going, in my head thinking, what am I going to do? Well, what would you normally do? You'd have a conversation. So I remember asking the crowd, what do you want? What do you want us to get you? And so people were shouting in, and it just ended up being this hilarious, like, laughter fest because no one could hear each other. And we laughed for about 10 minutes. And obviously, I got voted in because it was fun. However, I exhumed some information. So I took that information from the people that were voting me in. And then I realized I could influence change.
Yeah.
So he writes about the law of, if you want to learn something, read about it. If you want to understand something, write about it. And if you want to master it, then teach it.
Teach it.
But I would change that slightly for me and say, if you want to learn, listen. If you want to understand, do it. And if you want to master it, show it to someone else, which is the teach bit. Uh,
Yeah.
so I found that really interesting.
That's actually exactly how I am in the if I don't understand something fully until I just go and do it, because I don't realize what I'm not understanding until I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then once I've done it, I'm like, okay, no, I totally get all of it now. But I even think from the teach it part, it's because like I have a background in project management. So like as a project manager, everybody has to understand where they stand, what they're doing, what's expected of them. And your job as a project manager is making sure everyone understands you. So you have to speak to them in their language. And as a project manager, you're speaking to IT people, to finance people, to sales people, and they all speak different languages. So, and my job is to make sure they understand me and I understand what they're doing. I have to come to them the way they are in their home, in their department. And I think I've learned that skill over the years of being able to explain things to different people at different levels of business. I'm explaining the same concept or the same like process, but depending who I'm speaking to, I explain it in a different way. And it's only when you can do that do you really understand what you're talking about, because you have to talk about it from all different angles and every different aspect that it relates to and places it touches and what affects it. I always think that that's if you can talk like that, you really do understand something.
I loved it when he said, if you're talking to someone and they're using really long words, they probably don't know what they're talking about.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
do you know what? I couldn't agree more. The amount of times I get on, like, especially like board calls, and there's like, no,
Yeah.
there could be more 50-50 split women, men, and people are talking in a technical language. Okay.
Mhm.
Business terms, but only used in corporate world, has to be said.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, oh, here we go. And sometimes they're talking and I'm Googling, oh, what's that?
Oh,
And then I
100%, yeah.
just say next Wednesday. Why is he put, like, I mean, that's kind of taking the piss, but in the sense of, they'd be like, I need that by NW, okay? And you're like,
No. Oh, that's like the corporate acronyms. Yeah, they do my head in, like.
get that to me by COP on Monday, close of play. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, it's just, what's wrong? Why have you just agreed? Like, we don't live, I mean, dress is an emoji.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I do think sometimes I've been in so many meetings where people have like used massive words, and I'm like, okay, I know that my guys are not getting this.
Mhm.
And then you've got to go back, okay, in English, guys, it just means this. And they're like, oh my God. That's
Yeah, I would do that. I'd interpret. I always do that at the end of meetings with people who speak like that. So I will go, so just so I'm clear, what you're saying is, and then I will just break it down really, really basic English. But you can see people in the room kind of drop their shoulders when I often do that. And I was in a meeting there recently and it was with somebody, a legal person, and they were using the legal speak. And genuinely, I struggle, like really struggle with that. So I said, I was like, talk to us like we're five. Explain this to me like I'm five. And everyone kind of looked at me, but it worked. It's like I have no problem saying I don't understand something, and I'll ask you to repeat it in a very simple manner until I understand it. Because there's no point in me bobbing along and saying, "Oh yeah, I know what they're talking about," because I want to look like I'm clever. Like, you're clever if you actually do understand. So
I like
make it that you do.
Googling, like, yeah, 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 Googling it, and then going, but then my face would give it away because I'd be like, "Oh God, that's like, why didn't you say that?" Um, but yeah, no, I love it. And that thing about talking to a child, he mentions that in the rule, completely right. And not just the explanation, like if you simplify it again, but also
Mm,
the voice. Like when I teach Pilates instructors actually how to teach, I always say, teach like you're reading a 5-year-old a book at bedtime. You
yeah.
have people engaged. So the tone of your voice when it goes up or stop
Yeah.
is really, really important, because if you talk like this all the time, then obviously it's really boring and probably everybody's going to fall asleep. So tone is really important too, I think, when you're presenting something and teaching,
Yeah.
you can grab people's attention. But yeah, I love this rule, I have to say. And yeah, I give this a 10 out of 10.
No, I do too. But I think it brings in the whole, like, AI now and the whole lot as well. Like, we don't need to learn things off anymore because it's just accessible everywhere, and it is everywhere. And AI is going to be able to, like, give us all the information that's available. I do think, like, we're eventually going to have to start pivoting away from just that rote learning in school, like that read the book, learn the book, to understanding, like interpretation, analysis, that kind of learning, as opposed to just like Shan just carrying her book around because she couldn't understand it in that way. But if you were had to, like, analyze the book and understand meanings behind things, you know what I mean, in a different way, you'd have a way, your brain would definitely be able to do that in a much easier way. Like mine would.
That's my brain, that's how it works. And there's nothing, that's, I know what works for me. God, I'm 52. If I don't know now, I'm in trouble. But that's what I was trying to say. Like, kind of when I looked back, where did that happen to me? Where did I learn that? How did I learn that? And it actually was, it's back to that, what kind of brain you have. Steve Jobs always said that kind of dyslexic brain will always find the easiest route to the end. I had such a clever brain because it's about strategy, it's about solutions, quick solutions.
Hmm.
People can't see that. So it's not normal to be a solution strategist. And that's why we get on so well, because we see solution in everything and opportunity as well. In
Yeah. Yeah, and like, because I know as well with just the way my own brain works, things don't come to me in a kind of like a stereotypical beginning, middle, end type of way. It's some things that come to me in a bit of a chaotic muddle, and I have to quickly restructure them and put the puzzle pieces together to make sense of them in my own head just on a normal day. So I think that's why I am good at seeing a chaotic business and putting structure in there, because I have to do it. I've so much practice with it because I have to do it continuously all the time, every day. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's great. But and the last thing he mentioned in our 10 out of 10, number two, is consistency. The commitment that he gave to a daily obligation to start the diary has what has really changed things. I will kill people for consistency. If I commit to something, um, then that's the end of it. I'm that person, if I say, okay, no problem, on the 29th this month at 11 o'clock, I will meet you and do this for you, blah, blah. And then on the 28th, someone texts me and go, are we doing that tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, because I said I
Yeah,
was going to do it.
I'm like
That's
that.
it. Yeah. I'm that person. It's just like, I don't need to confirm it. And when we and talked about this, it's like, right, we can only do this if we commit to the
Hmm.
first series. We've got all those laws to go through. And then when that's finished, we sign that off and then we commit to the second one. Um, because otherwise it doesn't work.
No, no, and I'm like that too. Like I would always, if I say I'm going to do something, like if I'm not there, if I'm not showing up and doing it, there's something seriously wrong. Like we have like a group that meet every month for dinner, and the girls would even say like they can always rely on me to be there. Like I need to be very sick or like even if my daughter is sick, it's like my husband will be home, it's fine. She's okay, she's taken care of. But where like I'll always show up. Unless I physically can't get there, I will always show up because I said I would, because that's what's in my diary. So nothing else can be put in instead of it because it's planned. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm so black and white about that. It's like, but I can't do the other thing because I already committed to this.
yeah. It's not hard. It's not hard. So we won't talk about this morning again anyway. Uh,
No, no, no. I know what's going on at the moment.
so yeah, so look, great rule. We'll discuss number 3 next week. But we did put a call out and ask people if they had any questions for us, that we would discuss it. So I did get a text from a new business, and it's called Happy Vibes _ Kids Camp on Instagram. She started a new business doing kids camps during the summer, and she wants to know, now this is a vast question, so there's no way we could cover it tonight, but she wants to know how to move her business forward and the best direction to take it. So I've obviously had a look at the Insta, had a little look at the feed, etc. I have my ideas. I know where I'd start anyway, and I'd start with the social. But did you have a look? What do you think?
I haven't seen it. I haven't
Okay.
seen that. So, how is she getting her business already? How's it
So
coming to her?
she's taking bookings through Eventbrite.
Okay.
Just did a couple of camps. So it's basically wellness camps for kids. So she does a bit of yoga. She's trying to teach them like magic meditation. It's a
Oh,
lovely concept. So it's yoga / meditation wellness for children. So she's done them around and about. She did one in she was eventing in Douglas Village Shopping Centre. She did a midterm camp over Halloween, and that ran for 4 days. So the ages are 4 to 11. She was running them for half a day, 10 till 2, and €100 a child for the 4 days, which I think is grand. €25 to get rid
mhm.
of the kids. Fantastic. Um, and on that one, actually, she did loads. She did like scavenger hunts and storytelling. But the premise of it is about wellness, and getting the kids to be more open. And so if you look at her social media there, you'll see that, there's sort of pictures of meditation, there's pictures of them doing a scavenger hunt, etc. Which is lovely. And I think it's a great concept.
Yeah, no, it is lovely.
But for me, I would move this forward through collaboration.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I would, well, who I would collaborate with would be, well, Shan Horn. But I think they need to advertise to the mums, the yoga mums,
And
and the Pilates mums.
I mean, obviously I teach Pilates on a Saturday morning, and
Yeah,
the thought of having the kids in one room
yeah.
being looked after and the mums in my room being looked after is perfection.
Oh, that would be, oh yeah, that would be delicious actually, because then you get to have your lovely Saturday morning. It's basically childcare, but it's wellness childcare, and that you can work out yourself. Yeah, you can all just go off and get a little hot chocolate then
Both
together.
leaving together,
Yeah,
feeling amazing, and
yeah,
after that, you can go off then to the farmers market. So collaboration is going to be key for me when it comes to this.
yeah.
Um,
But
Obviously the ins and the schools, but my first thing, we were just talking about consistency, and your social has to be consistent. It's very sporadic.
but
It's
networking as well. So getting out into rooms where lots of wellness people are, because it's the moms that like, and I know it's for the kids, but it's the moms you're advertising to because they're the ones that are sending their kids out, and it's moms who want the wellness in their own lives are going to send their kids to that. And I know myself as a mom, I actually would spend more for Shay to go out and be taken care of, and I wouldn't take care of myself in that way. But I'd send her to the wellness camp. She'd have a yoga class every Saturday morning, and I wouldn't because I'm too busy. Do you know what I mean? Like we take care of them better than we take care of ourselves. But if a mom is in any way in the wellness world, she's going to want her kid in that as well. Like,
100%. And I think, like, if you look at the marketing side of it, she has to speak about the benefits of doing this. At the moment, she's just advertising what she does. I want to know why she started it. I want to know about her, because I'm going to bring my kid to her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Facility. And I want to understand what the benefits of my child doing this is. So, and consistency. It's no good putting up 3 posts in one day or just advertising your event when it comes up. You've got to be consistent, and you do need to build numbers. So I think how do I move my business forward is huge, and it's fast. And what I would suggest, if people are sending us questions, try and be a little bit more specific. It's a little bit easier for us to help. But I think that's a good start for her. Look at your social. I would just condense down your bio, telling people what you actually offer. The Eventbrite link is great, but if you don't have a website, maybe think about it. You could get a Leo grant and set up the website. Then you can use a link tree to put those links in. However, you can have 5 links actually on Instagram at the moment, so that's okay. And then I would look at your marketing pillars, and one of those pillars should definitely be the benefits.
Yeah.
One of them should obviously be what you're doing. And then I think behind the scenes, I want to know about you, and what gives you the qualification to look after my kids and to offer the services that you're offering. And
Yeah,
then
but because I think like they obviously can't put up pictures of kids, you know what I mean? But like they can take pictures of the rooms kitted out and what it will look like, and you can kind of get your imagination in there as well. But one thing I've noticed recently as well myself with marketing, and I'm not a marketer, like you're the marketer. Marketing is a forever thing. It's not I'll pick it up and I'll put it back down every so often. It's provide your service and market. They're the 2 bare minimum things that you need to do to run a business. And you need to be continuously marketing. Social media, I'm not mad about it either, but it is free. So if you need to market, it's the best place to start, definitely. Like word of mouth is the best thing that you get ever. But collaborating like that with people who run wellness events, run wellness, anything in the world of fitness, specifically Pilates.
of, of,
Oh wait, do
of
we have to do hashtag ad?
hashtag ad, hashtag elite Pilates, hashtag owner. Oh my God, we'll talk about that next week.
Oh
So,
my God, I can't.
yeah, it's getting very confusing. I'm adding ads everywhere, and then I'm like, I own this. Sorry, yes, I have to put ad, but I do own it. But yeah, no, I hope that's helpful for her. And like I say, she can always send us another message asking specifics, and then we can really nail it down. And if anybody else is listening and they want to ask us a question, you can DM us on either of our platforms. I've actually set up a new business page, which is sch_solutions. But please feel free to DM me at Sian Horn as well. And you are under Monarch, isn't it?
Monarch.business.solutions. That's on Instagram. Yeah. And they send in a DM. And like that now, as Sian said, like the more specific the question, the better of an answer you'll get. Otherwise, it's very kind of broad in general. But yeah, do send something in and we can have a chat about it.
Amazing. So listen, I shall speak to you very soon. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I can't wait to discuss law number 3 next week. And yeah, I hope you have a good week.
You too. Bye. 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 The music used for the opening and closing of this podcast is titled Pleasant Porridge by Kevin MacLeod. IncompeteTech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0. www.creativecommons.org/licenses/by/4.0.